The Story of Forgetting, a Novel, by Stefan Merrill Block. Narrated by Patrick Lawlor. Copyright 2008 by Stefan Merrill Block. This unabridged audiobook is published by arrangement with Stefan Merrill Block and Random House Incorporated, and was produced in the year 2008 by Tantor Media Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. Alongside this world, there's another. There are places where you can cross. Abel. Once I fell in love with everything. I never found a way to fill all the silence. In the months that followed the great tragedy of my life, I sprang from my bed every morning, donned my 5-pound cork-soled boots, and did a high step from room to room, colliding with whatever I could. The silence meant absence, and absence meant remembering, and so I made a racket. The rotting floorboards crying out when roused, the upholstered chairs thudding when upended, the plaster walls cracking when pummeled. Small comforts when everywhere, always, the silence waited. Over time, I learned to divide it into pieces. If, after breakfast, I found myself straining to hear my daughter's voice in the yard, or my brother's hobbled gait scraping down the hall, or May fiddling with the radio, I blamed it on the silence that had just collected before me in my freshly emptied bowl of porridge, and then I chased it away, rattling the bowl's innards with my spoon. Sometimes, from the room that once belonged to my brother and May, a particular kind of silence, more profound than the rest, began to seep out under the door, and I had to charge in, fists and feet swinging, to beat it into submission. I may never have made peace with it, but over the years I began to recognize the possibilities that the silence afforded me. It was absolute. That was its horror, but also its blessing. Into itself the silence promised to absorb whatever I gave it, my delusions, my regrets, even the truth. But still, even if the words go straight from my mouth to oblivion, the fundamental truth of my life is so simple, the saying of it makes me feel so foolish I can hardly bear to say it at all. I was in love with my brother's wife. But that is far from the story in its entirety. More accurately, I will say, I once believed
Sample complete. Ready to continue?